Hello, and welcome to episode 65 of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. Tonight, we don't have a lot to discuss. It's kind of the end of the year, so it's kind of a dry spell, but we will be giving you a rundown on the All-Stars event that happened, as well as doing some previews for some upcoming C9 events. I am your host, Havokpus, and today I'm joined by...
Hi, it's Frozencreek. I'm sick, so I apologize if there are coughing fits in the background. I've been trying to get better, but my job has kept me late plenty of times in the past week, which is why I was not here last week. So eventually, I'll be better by next podcast, I think. Which I should point out is not going to be until 2018, and it will be released the day before my birthday. So, don't expect anything else from us this year, because we don't get paid enough to work right before Christmas.
Exactly, you can't force me to work on a holiday. Especially when I control scheduling.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, let's dive into this. Alright, so the first little preview we have is for the Vainglory Worlds event, Cloud9's Vainglory team, who has had a pretty great year. They had two back-to-back North American Championships, one in the spring, one in the summer. They hit a little bit of slump in the autumn season, but they bounced back at like the last week of regular season play. And so now they're going to Worlds. It's going to be a great time. They are going to be playing the event from the 14th, which is tomorrow as of recording this, through the 17th. And their groups feature Pain Gaming, who's from Brazil, and Elite 8, who is an Indonesian team. I'm very excited because we just haven't had a lot of Vainglory stuff, and the Vainglory squad is really fun to watch. So I will be pulling for them 100%.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good testament to how they can bounce back from their recent shortcomings. Because at one point in time, they were flying really high with the back-to-back championships, and then they kind of just died, I guess. And not quite the best explanation of what happened, but
yeah, I think they just maybe had a slump. There might have also been some internal issues with their analysts and maybe the meta. The game might have shifted in a way that they weren't used to, and they were trying to bounce back from it. I think they've had a similar slump before when the game kind of changed in a way, and they kind of struggled maybe for a week or so. This was a bit longer than... Maybe it was in the spring? I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
it's not ideal, the timing on it, but
yeah,
I guess if you're going to slump, it's better to slump before Worlds than at Worlds. So hopefully they can shake it out of them and continue going into what is going to be a really fun and exciting tournament.
Yeah, and also just to add, the team has always looked a lot better on LAN versus doing the stuff that they've done in the regular season, which I think Vainglory 8 has always been like an online thing. Everyone just kind of plays online, and there isn't like a dedicated team house. So like you'll have Gabe Bizzle playing in one part of the country, and then maybe Joseph or someone else playing in another part. So coordination's maybe a bit off. I don't know how their practice schedule has been. But I think they always seem to pop off on stage. They're much more synergistic. And I'm also looking forward to this event just because it's a chance for North America as a whole just to show that they are maybe not the best, but they are a premier region for Vainglory. And this is a great chance for North American esports to really step up its game. So don't let us down.
Yeah, do you have any clue how LAN on a game like Vainglory would work, since it's a quote-unquote a mobile game?
That's a good question. I have no idea the logistics of them doing LAN events.
Okay, I'm gonna have
Maybe
to.
they set up like a special server. They have like special iPads and
Yeah,
whatnot
this starts
specifically for
tomorrow.
it.
I'm gonna have to look into this because this is gonna be tomorrow, meaning Thursday, Thursday the 14th, which this won't be out till after that. So you will know some of the results by the time this podcast gets released. But if you know how a LAN in Vainglory works, let me know, because I'm curious about that. I know we do have a guy
Yeah,
we can
same.
ask, but he is currently probably sleeping because it's well past his bedtime in England. So
Mysteries that shall be solved. Moving on, an event that's actually kind of going on right now, the PUBG Online Championship Finals. It's going to be going through tonight and then tomorrow, which is the 14th, which people listening to this after aren't going to be aware of. But I thought I'd just kind of talk about it a little bit. The team did get a spot in this championship. I watched the first map. I didn't get to watch the stuff that's going on now, but the first map was pretty exciting. They got 4th place, which is good. I'm not sure how the team will do overall, but it seems like in big events like these, they usually place within the top 10. And I think that that's a reasonable goal for them.
yeah, I think as the game starts to develop more, we've kind of seen them kind of drop from the top where they were at the beginning of the first PUBG tournaments, and now they're kind of falling into a place where it seems that is more conducive to where their talent actually is. And
Well, they also had to change the roster. Sweater and Crunch actually left the team to play for Ninjas in Pajamas, so they had to get 2 or 3 more people. They brought on it's the old people are Chappie and Solid FPS, and then we brought on Moody, Frolicker, and Frexy. So they got those new people, so they have to like figure out how they play and everything again. But I think they're at a pretty good spot because when they were at IEM, they got 7th place, so they got prize money, and they've been playing in some other tournaments recently, and I think they've been doing all right in those for online events. So I think they're starting to click. It's also a weird game where it's hard to really grade how teams are doing in terms of like performance.
yeah, but in all the games that I've seen, they've always lagged behind in the game. I don't remember exactly which tournament it was, but I watched them like on a Thursday or something, or Friday or something, get like dead last, and or like 10th, and then my girlfriend watched them on a Saturday night, and they got dead last, which was kind of disappointing in a way. But I'm not sure if there's a lot of variance because the esport is so young, or if the fact that it is young, the developers and balancers are having a hard time finding a good competitive balance to reward teams that are actually better. But I think that they're probably not a top 5 team in general, but they have shown that they can compete at that level.
From what I've listened in on their point of view streams, it seems the game is very critically based around having a good game sense of like how the circle is going to move and anticipating and kind of scouting out and seeing where the enemy is. So like if you're not in a good spot at the circle, you have to rotate properly and get a good spot, and if you don't, you'll just die. So it's all about like communication and coordination, and sometimes that can work and sometimes that can't. I think we'll definitely have to see. I'll try to figure out the thing with PUBG Online event organizers is they have a really poor website, so like you can't tell how teams have done from like map to map, so it can be really hard determining how the team did. But I'll try to tackle down these results so we can maybe dissect them a bit further when we get back after the holidays, and we can maybe talk a bit more about how the team is doing.
Yeah, I think esports in general needs to do a better job of getting their match results and schedules in order, because it's really tough to follow stuff unless you're getting like uh, a minute by minute updates on when stuff begins, and which sucks because I do want to watch a lot more games, but it's tough when I don't know that it's happening until it's happening.
Yeah, and that's why I like stuff like LCS and Overwatch League, is because everything has a regimented schedule there. You know, the schedules are already put ahead of time. They're like, okay, Team A faces Team B at this time. You know, get ready for it. And then they put the results pretty quickly after, and you can just look up on the website like, oh, they did this, or in an app that's so like the games are big enough to where their scores are integrated into several apps, and stuff like PUBG and Vainglory and other stuff. You know, CS:GO is kind of wishy-washy. Sometimes it's easy to track down when stuff is like major tournaments. Other times it's difficult to figure out what's going on. But stuff like smaller esports is really kind of difficult sometimes to figure out when stuff is and who does what. There needs to just be one central thing, is what I'm getting at. But I'm rambling. I think gonna move on to our final little match preview of the night. CS:GO boys, they have flown to let's see, where are they? I saw a tweet. I believe they're going to maybe Argentina or Mexico for the ECS Season 4 finals. They're going to be participating in the group stage. Their group is actually pretty tough. Their match against Astralis is on December 15th, which is this Friday. Also the release date of the new Star Wars movie. Their group features them, Astralis, FaZe Clan, and Liquid. All very tough teams in their own right. Cloud9 has faced all of them before. Recently, our results against Liquid and Astralis have been pretty good. FaZe is still the team to beat, and I think they're actually probably the best team in the world, or at least top 2, considering how FaZe has played at really big events lately. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get our clocks cleaned by FaZe, but I think how Cloud9 has been playing lately and how sharp they've looked, we can take Astralis and Liquid.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I've been trying to figure out where the tournament's played. It said North America, so I guess my best guess would be Mexico on that.
Yeah, Tarek and Stewie made like some tweets saying they're on their way, or they're flying. Let's see, I'm scrolling. I didn't think this was.
Yeah, I'm having
okay, Cancun. It's in Cancun.
Cancun.
Stewie said taking off for Cancun for the last event of the year. He's super excited. So it's gonna be in Cancun. I've actually been to Cancun.
Damn this time trying to find out where, or find the tournament in general. So our first match is against Astralis. Okay, so we also have. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think this is a group that we should be able to make it out of. Astralis is a beatable team. Liquid, we have. I don't want to say held our own against, because we've beat
Liquid,
them
at the tail end of the year, they have been slumping while we have gotten better, I feel. Because if you look at the most recent match results, like the last couple matches that we played against them, we've beaten them. So it's not like they're unbeatable.
Yeah, and I think we should be a better team than them in general, and I think as time goes by, that it's only going to help us hopefully get a step up in our competition as Tarkin and Rush mold back into the squad. FaZe is going to be difficult for sure, but Cloud9 has shown that they are able to beat quote-unquote better teams on a consistent basis just by showing up in a LAN tournament against them. So I'm pretty hopeful in the group stage. So if I were a betting man, I put him at second, but I think that there is a really high chance that they could get first.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think that FaZe, if we can avoid them altogether, it'd probably be great, but as long as we show up against the other two, we can move on to the bracket stage. I think right now the team's goal for this year is just get out of as many groups as possible, show your strength as much as possible, and continue to grow. And the team has grown a lot since we first got Rush and Tarek. So I'm really optimistic. I'm really ambitious.
All right. So let's, I guess, move on to Overwatch.
Yes. So for Overwatch, if anyone doesn't know, we have a. Excuse me one second. I gotta cough. Sorry. A tickle in my throat. So for those of you that don't know, Frozen and I manage / host a London Spitfire Overwatch League podcast called The Dogfight. We record every Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern. It's a fun time. We have a lot of good people on there. We talk about Overwatch. It's super fun. But we're going to give you just kind of a basic rundown of what happened with the London Spitfire in their first preseason matches. So
This
the
was
team
in their
played
preseason tournament. It was like their first couple matches of the year. They don't mean anything, but it was like the
Yes.
first run out for the brand new Overwatch League. Sorry, I'm having coughing fits too, especially as I talk. All right, sorry. Yeah, so carry on.
Yeah. It's basically kind of like football with preseason. The teams can kind of play in a serious setting, but not have any of the losses affect them, and they can change things and fix things up to make sure that they can have a higher chance of winning once the regular season starts. So Spitfire played first against the LA Gladiators, which is Surefour's team, for any Cloud9 fans who are trying to keep an eye on the Cloud9 people that we have scattered around Overwatch League, because we actually have a lot. I actually want to do maybe next episode talking a little bit about who all is in Overwatch League and how impressive that is, but that's for another episode. Where we played against the Overwatch League, we played against LA Gladiators. The GC Busan roster, who won Apex Season 4, played against them for the majority of the time. The C9 Kongdu core, along with others, played for only one map, but the team ultimately lost 2-3. It was kind of disappointing. Everyone was holding the GC Busan half especially in high regard. Looked kind of out of practice, maybe looked nervous, maybe looked like they didn't take it seriously since the match didn't really count. Who knows? I know that their coach was pissed. He was posting pictures on Twitter about like having like a bat, which is like apparently like a disciplinary object in Korean culture. He was tweeting pictures of bats. He's ready to just go off on them. So luckily, he was not happy.
I think he has a point though. The Busan roster really shouldn't be falling to anyone who is.
Oh yeah, they shouldn't have lost that match for sure.
Yeah, and while it is preseason and it doesn't actually mean anything, just a lot of how the game played out was disappointing. Prophet, the Tracer God, really wasn't impressive by any means, I guess. There were a couple plays here and there, but overall he was getting picked off and just underperforming in general. But
his Junkrat was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, and it's pre-season, so it doesn't actually mean anything. But I think it was good for them to get a loss under their belt, so they can see what North American teams and coaches are going to be trying on the stage. Because I think the North American, I guess not rosters, but the North American based teams are generally going to be more not prone, but more likely to try experimental comps like pulling out a Bastion or a Tourborn or something that's not quite quote unquote a meta. And I think seeing it early is going to help them a lot in the long run.
Yeah, and I think the loss also kind of helps put them back down to earth. I think maybe they went into this match a bit too overconfident, considering how much success that they had garnered in Apex Season 4 and how they've just been crushing everyone left and right. So, now they have a loss. They didn't look as good before. Now they can really focus on their play, and hopefully they can do better once this season officially starts. Moving on to the second match, the Cloud9 Kongdu roster, which this is kind of an interesting one because this half features the core members of the Kongdu Pantera roster, which is Fisher, Birdring, and Rascal. And then we brought in free agents Nuss and Fury. And since Bedosen was still in Korea and couldn't play, we put in Hagapen. And they came out to play against the San Francisco Shock and crushed it 4-0. Well, no mercy. There was mercy being played, but they basically just completely whooped them. Birdring and Rascal looked fantastic. Nuss and Fury definitely impressed at just how much cohesion they could bring in such a short time on the team. And that whole half of the team played great. I think this is maybe going to be the half that's going to be starting for the majority of Overwatch League, unless there are specific reasons why the Busan roster comes in.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they're able to combine the two rosters a little bit. Like Prophet is a god himself, so I don't want to see Spitfire force in the full Kongdu roster if there are better options available. So I'm hoping to see if they do that, because if not, they're gonna have a whole elite team just sitting on the bench, not doing anything most of the time. So honestly, I'm not quite sure how they're gonna get this to work, because both squads in their own right are really strong, and just separating them as squads and making them like scrim against each other or something just seems like a waste of talent to just pay. So I don't know what they're gonna do. An interesting thing happened this week. Runaway in Korea dropped Kaiser. I doubt he's coming to Spitfire, but I wonder if that's something that the coaches and managers are monitoring.
Yeah, I think he could definitely go to one of the other teams during the midseason when rosters unlock and you can do midseason trading and pickups. I think Miami will definitely pick up some players since they only have 6 people. As for our roster, I actually listened to an interview with Bishop on the High Noon podcast. It was recorded sometime last week. But he was saying how integrating the rosters is a very delicate process. So for right now, the rosters are going to be separate, but he's really working on slowly kind of knitting them together and having their synergies between the two rosters kind of align with each other. So instead of just having one handful of good players and another handful of players, you have a whole batch together. And he's working on that. And also, don't worry, Bedoshin and all of the coaches, everyone on the Spitfire is now in LA. They're going to spend all of December just grinding out Overwatch, scrimming out, and getting strong for when Overwatch League starts. So, no need to fear.
Yeah, I think that's about it for Overwatch, just because we actually have a whole separate podcast about that.
Yeah,
So
don't want to talk about that too much.
Yeah, so check out the Dogfight. You can search that in Apple Podcasts. You might have to scroll a little bit because it might not be the first result that pops up. At least it wasn't when I did it a couple weeks ago. But we're also at Dogfight Podcast on Twitter, and we're also on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely check all that stuff out. So, moving on, our beautiful boy Sneaky participated in the All-Stars event with the NA All-Stars team, which featured Hanser, Mike Young, Bjergsen, and Aframu. I actually didn't catch much of the event because I was busy watching Overwatch League stuff. But I heard that NA kind of had a rough time.
Oh, what did you say you cut out? Oh, my internet sucks.
Oh, my bad. I said that I wasn't able to catch most of the event because I was busy watching Overwatch League, but from what I have heard, NA had a kind of a bad time.
Yeah, they did. I watched their game against LPL. That was the only one that I actually saw from NA because they got knocked out in the group stage. And
Classic
I,
TSM, not getting out of groups.
Yeah, I don't want to say that it was bad per se, but they definitely.
Yeah, I mean the event doesn't matter.
Like it kind of seemed like a classic NA international tournament. Bjergsen didn't really do much. Hanser played pretty well, I think. Aframu and Mike Young died a lot, but that's because they were the warding machines, and they didn't quite do a good defensive job of keeping wards and clearing wards around the map. The highlight of the tournament was easily Sneaky's quadra kill. I guess I can't quite say exactly what happened from memory, but LPL got a wipe of Mike Young, Bjergsen, and Aframu, and it was just Hanser and Sneaky on Jin alive, and then Hanser went into the Baron pit as Meganar stunned a couple people and ulted them, and Sneaky came in and autoed because Jin is pretty strong right now, and cleared out 4 people. It almost got the pentakill, but he missed his Sneaky W. So that itself was easily the highlight of NA's tournament. So I mean, it doesn't mean anything. I would have liked to see a more fun event, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I definitely think that clip was pretty hype. I remember watching it and just thinking like, oh wow, this is actually pretty high level stuff. Like, I mean, you know, I know the tournament doesn't matter, but seeing Sneaky perform in the matches that he did play as well as the 1v1 tournament, I think this really shows that Sneaky is still a pretty top tier rated ADC. You know, he doesn't maybe show this in solo queue while he's streaming because that, you know, that's downtime. He's not really maybe putting in like a 100% effort, and he's not always matched with, you know, any player equal to his caliber. But when you see him play in events like this and see him play on stage, he does some really amazing things, and he's been playing like this for so long. I think it's kind of unbelievable that he's still able to pull out all of these sick plays, and I just think that's super cool.
Yeah, I'm glad he got in. Did you get to see any of the other matches?
No, I didn't. I was meaning to watch at least the 1v1 tournament stuff, but I ended up getting sidetracked. I did hear that Sneaky narrowly lost to BRTT, and he actually would have won if he... Because he was doing like a farm war. He was Jin, and BRTT was Draven. And if Sneaky had hit his W correctly, he actually would have won and hit 100 CS before BRTT.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch any of the 1v1s, but at the end of the day, that I guess kind of means even less than the tournament as a whole does. But it's always fun to see. I think it's kind of dumb that they limited it to 2 per region.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of lame as well. I mean, I think that everyone should have been able to participate. I think they should have just kept in the goofy stuff. I mean, is it not as quote unquote professional or anything? No. But does it hold my interest as an audience member? And I think mostly just for the players, it just allows them to just kind of unwind. You know, when they go on stage, it's all this serious mess of like, I have to perform and I have to win. You know, but with previous All-Star events, like the stuff where it was like the shared thing, where like one person was operating the mouse and the other was operating the keyboard, I thought that was so great because it's just like, look at this, Bjergsen and Faker just having the best time together, like just a couple of buds. Everyone's just having fun and laughing, and you know, when everyone's getting into it, and I think that's just so much, you know, more desirable than this, where it's, you know, this is just a regular tournament. You know, I could just watch Worlds VODs if I wanted to see a regular tournament.
Yeah, and due to the fact that it's like voted in and stuff, like it is, maybe viewership suffers to what they expect for the championships, and maybe they need to make it more focused. But I think making it a serious event is kind of a waste of time, just because that's not what people want to see at quote unquote All Stars.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how viewership did in this as well. If it went up versus last year's or went down, but excuse me. But I definitely think they need to, you know, just go back to the way things were, maybe workshop it a bit more, because I think that this year's event just wasn't exciting for me, and how they promoted it, and it just felt like, oh well, it's just another thing. Why should I watch it? You know, Overwatch League is on, and that's a much more like exciting, you know, concept versus this.
Yeah,
I just want more fun
I can
things.
attest to that. Yeah, but the grand finals were actually pretty fun. Um, I didn't watch all of them. I did see Game 4 and most of Game 5 between China and LMS. And Game 4 was pretty late at night Eastern Standard Time, and LCK were up like 6k or 8k gold at like 25 minutes. So I was like, all right, I'll just go to bed. And then I woke up and I was like, oh shit, LMS came back and won, because they looked like dog shit for the first 5 minutes or so. So I went back and watched it, and it was actually like a lot of fun, and it was kind of like watching a blast from the past kind of thing, like not the strategies and stuff, but just from the fact that they weren't so polished, and that there were like huge mistakes being made, and it just made it kind of fun. But I do agree that it doesn't mean anything, so might as well have some fun on the side. I guess the tournament part's not too bad, but I think eliminating all the 1v1s in fun events is kind of a mistake.
Mm. Well, I think to change the subject a little bit, Frozen. Um, there was some talk. The GPL coach, who was also, I believe, is the Gigabyte Reigns coach. He had this really impassioned speech. I can't remember if it was on stage or during an interview, but he loves Levi so much, and he's trying to get Levi on a Western team because he wants Levi to have just this great career and this great experience as a player, and he wants him to grow and succeed so much. And it was very touching. Some people have said, or at least asked, for Jack to pick up Levi in some capacity. Personally, I find it's kind of silly because not only do you have a language barrier, the team already has 3 junglers. We have Svenskeren, we have Wiggly, who will either be sharing time with Svenskeren or starting in the academy team, and then you have Blabberfish, who I'm not sure if we're keeping him or we're going to sell him to another team or what, but We already have 3 junglers in this organization. We really don't need 4. And it seems that even if Levi's super aggressive playstyle may or may not fit with us, it seems way too much of a risk to carry on. But I'm curious about your thoughts about what will happen to Levi and if C9 should even consider picking him up.
I think that they should, in a hypothetical situation. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that they should. If they have a lot of faith in Licorice, then we're going to have the import slot open for quite a while, and seeing Levi come in, maybe not start right away, but take over for Svenskeren in a year or two would be a huge step up from what our other alternatives are currently in the team. I don't think it's fair to compare Levi to Wiggly and the guy we just picked up, because neither of them have any kind of experience really on any kind of stage other than the smallest stage possible in competitive League of Legends at the moment. And Levi is someone who was showing up at Worlds and performing as some people would probably argue as one of the better junglers at Worlds, which is saying a lot considering his youth and the region that he's playing in. And I think he could even give Svenskeren a run for his money. And if you honestly ask for my opinion, I honestly would be okay with Levi starting over Svenskeren.
Even if there is,
there I said it.
Even if there is a language barrier,
there
and Levi would have to learn English.
There, I already said it. I can't take it back. Yep.
All right, you can't take it back. That's fine. I'm just making sure that you said it. The thing that I am weary of is that, you know, there is a language barrier, and considering his playstyle, it may not help Cloud9 sometimes. I'm not sure. You know, there's a lot of hypotheticals in that. But it's a language barrier. It's that C9 has already really doubled down on the jungling role. I'm not sure. It could work, but you know, you'd have to show me have a computer that can run super advanced simulations and show what would happen in like a season's worth of matches. What would happen if Levi played with Cloud9?
I mean, it's not going to happen, but I would be perfectly okay with it just because he's a very proven talent.
Yeah.
And
also the
junglers aren't.
Yeah, and also the funny thing is one of the reasons why Levi played so many champions at Worlds was because the Gigabyte Marines coach essentially was like, all right, I'm going to show you off to make sure you have as much exposure as you can to these other teams. So he let Levi play a different champion, I think, like each time he played, which I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think he does deserve a spot in a Western squad. The only thing that I think that holds him back is that he's not coming from the LCK or China, where there is already an infrastructure for those type of players. So that's his biggest barrier at this point, but I think that there should be someone who is willing to give him a shot at some point in the future.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think he definitely can play on a Western team. I'd actually really like to see him move up in the world, because ever since he's played at Worlds, he's wowed, and to a lesser extent also MSI. You know, he really wowed everyone with his hyper aggressive play, and you know, he's very talented mechanically. So I would like to see him move on to better things. I guess the question is if and or when. But do you have any final thoughts on anything we talked about? Anything that happened this year that I want to look back on. This is the last episode for 2017.
Oh. What's your favorite moment off the top of your head of 2017?
Favorite moment? Oh man, this is hard. There's so many. I would have to say my favorite moment this year would probably be. It might be a toss-up between the TSM C9 finals in the spring or Cloud9 beating CLG to qualify for Worlds this year. I think both of those were extremely good moments and really exciting moments for everyone involved. I think maybe another one, and this one maybe not as much counts, but I think another one would be acquiring our Overwatch League spot and our NALCS spot. I think from an organizational standpoint, that's very huge because we're in these two franchise leagues and has so much potential for the organization to grow and get in more sponsors, more money. But yeah, just in general, there's been a lot of moments this year that have been great.
Yeah, picking just one is incredibly hard. Despite the ending of the series not going exactly well, seeing Sneaky play Tristana against Dignitas in the playoffs was extremely exciting when he jumped in to a team fight on top of like 4 people, clearing out 2 or 3 just by killing them, then jumping out again to save an almost definite defeat that turned out to be a defeat anyway. Was extremely.
Yeah, he tried really hard in that game.
Yeah, that I mean it was at the end of the day.
I felt so bad when we
was
lost.
him who got caught out that helped us lose, but up until that point, he put the team on his back, and that was one of the bigger plays I think I've seen in LCS in memory. Besides, that sticks out to me. Besides the Medios 5-man Sejuani ult against TSM in Season 5. The sense of accomplishment that came with making it out of group stages and taking China to a Game 5 was also a really good event for me. And I think just overall seeing the organization take a step forward in ways that no other organization was able to this year. And I think that Cloud9 was able to solidify themselves as the best esports organization probably in the world almost.
They actually won an esports award. It was I can't remember. Maybe it was the Video Game Awards. Hold on.
I'm not sure.
It's pinned on the. Yeah, they won. I think it was at the Video Game Awards, but they won best esports team.
Yeah,
I think it was at the Video Game Awards. I'm pretty sure. Still, we won. But I think overall we had a really successful year. A lot of good wins. Maybe some bad losses. Also good losses if you look at how hard the team tried. But I think if you look at all of the things that the team had accomplished, all of the teams that they have accomplished, I think this has been a really great year for Cloud9, and I cannot wait to see what the team and the organization does in 2018.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get to hold up a trophy or two for once, because I think it's past time for that to happen.
It's certainly overdue. I think we've gotten close so many times. I think it's just that we just need to we need to get just the right amount of luck and skill and synergy, and have all the little tiny things just get a little bit more aligned, because we've been close so many times before. I think we can do it. I've seen the potential. It's just that we just have to work a little bit harder, have our guys maybe practice a little bit harder, play a little bit harder, and just maybe be a little bit more lucky. Sometimes it just comes down to luck, and you can't win them all.
All right, well, I think that's about it.
Yep, that was it. This was episode 65 of Bodied, the Cloud9 Fancast. We will be off for the rest of the holiday season, but we will be back after New Year's. In the meantime, feel free to tweet questions and feedback to us at C9Bodied or email us at bodiedfancast@gmail.com. We'll try to interact with people and keep tweets and such going. Over the course of the holidays, we're going to try to be as present as possible. But in the meantime, thank you for listening and have a happy holiday season.
Yeah, don't forget you can find us on really any of your favorite podcast apps. So if you can't find us on your favorite podcast app, tell us and I will look into getting us onto there. But honestly, there's a laundry list of apps that we are on. So take a look at.
Yeah, I keep
at
forgetting
us on
to.
YouTube.
I keep forgetting to promote that.
Yeah, it's a long list. So look.
Yeah.
All right, I think
Yeah,
that's
just
about
look.
it. See you guys in 2018.
Yep. Thanks for listening.